Richmond, two schools of thought. Nothing to see here. Early season every year. Play on, a few injuries, or there's some water on the boat.
I'm a bit more...
Which camp are you in, and where do you sit on some of their leaders?
I'm more in the first camp. I think they can turn it around. But if they are going to, I think they need more from their captain, Trent Cotchin. Now, we all admire Trent, and if he finished today, he's a walk-up Hall of Famer. And we particularly admire the way that he changed the game. But watching him go against the best midfielders in the competition, Oliver, Petrarca, Viney on the weekend and Brayshaw, he isn't doing enough. And with Martin down on form, with Prestia out, you can't have your captain touching it and kicking it 5 times. He had 12 disposals, and you compare him to the older midfielders in the game and what they are doing. I just think Trent has changed his game, but if he's in there, he's got to be getting more of the footy, particularly when...
What's he changed his game to, Kane? What do you mean by that?
He's been a more defensive player and he hasn't got those high numbers that have...
So he doesn't have to have the same numbers as those three?
No, but he needs more than 5 kicks. When Martin's having 8 and Presti is not playing and the best midfield teams have 4 to 5 A-grade midfielders...
So you think the 3-time premiership captain isn't doing enough to lead his side?
Not right now. And it'll be overlooked because of what he has done in the past and his record. But right now... he needs to lift when those around him aren't, and he needs to be doing more.
You're not questioning his role on the side, though, are you?
No, I'm not questioning. You wouldn't drop the captain, the reigning premiership captain.
GWS dropped the captain.
They did,
so it does happen.
but he wasn't a 3-time premiership captain. But he needs to do more.
He hasn't been a big accumulator for 5-6 years now, has he? Like, he's been a reinvented player.
He sensed the moment, though, I reckon, Hutchie. In pivotal moments, he's lifted. I didn't see him do that on Friday night, and I haven't seen him do it this year, and I think his numbers have fallen off a cliff this year.
We saw last year Bolton come through the midfield and Noah Bolter do it in defence. I think Richmond need another injection, of players to potentially come through. I don't know if it's Jack Ross or Collier Dawkins or someone, but I think the top 3 or 4 sides are going that well, Hutchie.
Are you worried about them?
I'm worried about them, yeah. And I have been in past years and got it wrong, but I think when you've been up for this long, it gets harder on that 4th or 5th year, and I think Port... Melbourne and the Dogs are going that well. I think Richmond do need to lift a fair bit if they're to get back into this premiership race.
Interesting, Hutchie, just quickly on Shai Bolton. Ralph Curry's manager spoke on radio and was asked specifically about his contract and said very calmly that he was happy to sit and wait. So I'm not sure Shai Bolton's re-signing anytime soon. That's absolutely not to say that he won't eventually, but he wants the money that he deserves.
Well, with Martin, he's the most important midfielder right now, and he will get offers to pay him that way.
The interesting thing is the coach has always been very loyal to them, and you'd understand why. And at some point, that loyalty runs a little thin. He looks very staunch that he's still got the team to win it. Didn't seem too concerned after the game.
I think the scoreboard, whilst it looked a little bit, out of control, I thought our system held us in good stead. I just thought their big game players played better. We played some tough competition. We've got some injuries, but we're going to move forward.
And I think with this, they've always been a tough side, but they've always moved the ball extremely well, Hutchie. And they got beaten by Melbourne on the weekend in a way that we haven't seen Richmond get beaten very often. And this was fascinating, wasn't it? The hands that were used, the surging of the ball.
Have a look at this, Lloyd. This is an unbelievable stat. The most handballs against Richmond in 5 years. 226 handballs, 80 above game average.
Yeah.
They ran the ball by hand all game. They refused to kick it. And 3 of the last 5 have been winners in that list.
Yeah, and you can see Richmond players trying to roll up, but they're not short handballs, they're long handballs. So I think that's what tested out Richmond on the weekend. And, they got found out by Sydney by foot. They got found out by Melbourne by hand there.
What's the right way to play them?
I think you've got to play I think the way Melbourne are executing. I've never seen Melbourne use the ball as well as they've used it in 2021, which has given them a great chance and a shot at this year's flag.
I think there has been a growing rhetoric that Richmond could fall off a cliff, after winning 3 of the last 4. And I know that has happened with previous teams, Cornsey, that have done similar in Brisbane and also Hawthorn, but they had ageing stars. This Richmond team doesn't have that. I still think they're going to be around the mark for years to come.
Yeah, and they look motivated still. Like the first 15 minutes of that game, they still look like the Richmond of old. So I'm confident they will turn it around, but injuries will play a part in that. They've got to get Prestia and Martin back in form.
And Lynch as well, who's the other one.